Yeah, he used to tell me every single day that I wasn't good enough for him and that nothing I could.
So the problem with so many clever gotcha arguments framed like this is that they are fundamentally built on a false premise. In this case, the false premise being that there is a one-to-one connection between a relationship with a spouse and a relationship with God. So consider this example. I could, if I wanted, spin some yarn about having a parent who slept naked in my bed and occasionally took showers with me and initiated sex with me and expect me to cover a bunch of bills in the home. And if you believe that story, which you shouldn't because it's not a true story in my case, you would get appropriately upset about how terrible and abusive that is. But if I then turned it around and said, now, if I said that about a parent, you would be upset. So why do we accept this from a spouse? You would probably respond with something along the lines of, because it's a spouse. See, I should be able to safely assume that you have some understanding that different relationships have different boundaries and expectations, that a friendship and a romance and a sibling relationship and a parenting relationship will all have similar and distinct elements, that there are some things that will be healthy and acceptable in some of those relationships, but questionable or outright evil in others. Now, you don't have to actually believe that God exists to recognize that a relationship between an eternal, all-powerful spiritual entity and a mortal physical being that they created would naturally be a very distinct and very unique relationship. That there would be elements of that relationship that would have some similarity to other relationships, but there would also be elements that are very unique to it. There are similarities in that parents sort of create their children, though they have very little direct ability to decide details on which traits are passed on or how they manifest. There are similarities to a marriage in the way that one enters into a covenant relationship, but it's pretty obvious that this can never be a covenant made between two peers holding equal power, because there's an innate difference. There's a vast power difference inherent to a creator and their creation. See, ultimately, arguments like this can be adequately reframed by simply asking, is there any real concrete difference between a husband and a god? And the answer is obviously yes. Honestly, I don't really think that I should need to explain to you why it's yes, or how ridiculous that question sounds if you take it seriously and examine it for what it is. Arguments that operate in this manner, the manner that this argument operates in, holds no water because they rely on a logical foundation that just isn't really there. It's not the same sort of thing, and trying to make it sound like the same sort of thing just to make a point is fundamentally dishonest.